All right. If you just do it, it turns out okay. Welcome everyone to Talking Time with Caffeine, the only podcast where we drink, where we get some caffeine in our systems and talk about whatever the hell we want to talk about.
I'm all for that.
My guest today, well, is introduce yourself. Introduce yourself, guest for today.
Hello, I am Chris Mallard, the Daily Atheist. I make videos about atheism and religion and stuff like that, and I also have the Daily Atheist morning show. It's lots of fun. We have I have guest content creators come on as guest hosts, and we interview people, and it's a lot of fun. We're working on it.
So I love to be either a guest on there someday or at least watch it someday live. But I work third shift, so when it comes on, I'm like, I'm crashing in the morning.
I don't blame you a bit. I totally understand. Yeah, it's not the optimal time for everybody, you know.
This is kind of hard when I have my so far when I had my three Australian guests, Nirvadia, the atheist pastor, and Natcha, because to them it's like 10 at nighttime. For me, it's like 6 in the morning, and I just got off third shift. I'm like, let's do this. I'm up.
Yep. Yeah, no. Well, when with the morning show, like you say, they're kind of perfect fodder for me too, because I just drag them over to my show with me and everything. So yeah, it's perfect time for them. They usually on Friday they're having their Friday night 6-pack. So that's how I met a lot of them. I know you're the interviewer here, but I got to ask, how long you been doing this?
Well, I've been doing this podcast for 8 years now.
Wow.
I've been doing YouTube seriously for about 10 years. I've had my channel for about 12 years.
Gotcha. I see.
Yeah, I didn't really start making videos until a year after YouTube. I made my channel, because I was just a watcher, and then the gap between my first and second video was like 2 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Wow. So, why'd you name your channel The Daily Atheist?
Well, let's see. I was looking for something catchy. It popped into my brain. I went, yeah, that sounds like a good one, without realizing the ramifications of choosing a name like The Daily Atheist. So there for a while before I took the morning show, it was before I made the morning show, I just dropped weekly videos, and it was people give me grief all the time about calling myself the Daily Atheist and yet not dropping videos daily. So yeah. But that's as good as answers I have. Other people probably have. What about your name? How do you say it?
Vandalia, 1998.
Vandalia. So where'd that come from?
Vandalia, the city I grew up in, 1998, the year I graduated high school.
I see. Gotcha. Vandalia, 1998. Okay. Let's see.
Something simple.
Yeah, so well, that's cool. Thank you for having me on the show. Like I say, one of these days, maybe you could make it for a Sci-Fi Saturday if you don't work on Saturday.
Yeah, I don't work on Saturday, but I work on Friday night.
Gotcha.
So like if I remember set my alarm at the right time, I can be up for
it. Yeah, well, it's that we have a couple of people at third shift. I think who else is third shift? We've got somebody, they're third shift, but in a different time zone. So they get home just in time for the show. I can't remember who it is. Oh, it's Easism. I was just talking to him today. So, I'm pretty sure it was Easism.
I'm Eastern time zone.
Gotcha. Oh, okay. Yeah. So, that's 10 o'clock your time in the morning, isn't it? For the Saturday sci-fi shows.
Yeah. So, specifically Ohio.
Gotcha.
What mountain state are you from?
I'm from Texas. I'm in New Mexico. Yes.
Yeah. So is that better than Old Mexico?
I've only been to Old Mexico once. It was only for a few minutes. I just crossed the border there in Juarez at like 9 o'clock at night back in 1989.
How do you get over the wall?
I didn't get over the wall. There's a border crossing there in Juarez, and you just go across the border and drink beer and get drunk and come back.
But I thought there was a big wall there.
there's a gap in the wall.
Oh.
There's these people with like badges and stuff, and they'll let you go through if you have an ID. Of course, this, like I said, this is back in 1989, so things weren't as crazy back then. I'm telling my age. That's a long time ago. I was going, wow, I joined the Army back in 1989. That's crazy.
I may have
Am I old or what?
Yeah. I'm old. I just turned 40 recently.
Really? 40, the big 40, huh?
Yeah. You know you're old when the people you work with at your job are the kids of the people you went to school with.
Yeah, I guess so. You know, I'm to the point now where like turning over in bed causes pain. But I'm not even 50 yet. I'm like 40, 48. I just turned 48. But I tell you, if I don't work out, I need to work out. I got a treadmill. I ought to get on my treadmill.
I haven't done that when you work out lately either. It's been too cold outside. But I used to ride my bike all the time. I rode 36 miles one time.
Really?
Yeah.
36 miles.
Well, 18 break and 18 back.
Well, that's a long time. That's long ways.
Just to see if I could do it, and I did it.
Well, you made it. You survived, and here we are.
So were you always, or were you a former Christian?
I am a former Christian. Yeah, I was raised a Christian. Yeah, my mom. You know, I tell this story kind of often in this business, right? We talk about this fairly regular. So if you've heard this before, I'll try to keep my lies straight. My mom was a kind of a Christian when I was young, a loose Christian. We went to church every now and then, Episcopalian. I remember being baptized Episcopalian. I think that's right. The older I get, the harder it is to remember what exactly, But then the older she got, the further away she got from the religion. She was a original series Star Trek fan. Captain Kirk was hers all the way. And like I say, she became more of a fan of that kind of thing and went along with that type of mentality and went further and further away from the religion.
Yeah, I think it's to Star Trek until Next Generation, 5th season. That's when I randomly found it one night.
I'm sorry? Oh, that's how you found Star Trek?
Next Generation, 5th season, randomly when I was supposed to be in bed before middle school.
Really?
Looking through TV, couldn't sleep.
Yeah, it's one. Well, Next Generation is one of my faves.
The one where Worf couldn't walk for an episode.
Oh, really? Yeah. That was a Crusher episode, right? Not a Pulaski. Pulaski was season 2 or something like that.
Yeah, so she was only this season 5.
Yeah. That's one of my favorites. The Next Generation, actually, for me, the Next Generation was one of the things that kind of helped me pry from religion.
But the only Star Trek season I ever saw from beginning to end when it originally aired was DS9.
Really? That's a good one. I like that one.
Because when I started watching Voyager, but then halfway during it, I started working, and then I couldn't really watch it that well anymore. And Enterprise, I cut on reruns.
Right.
And well, the original series, I wasn't born yet, and then and then Next Generation, I watched it eventually, but after when you start season 5, you get to catch up the other 4 seasons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Next Generation is a good one. That's one of my favorites. Deep Space Nine is my favorite, I think, Star Trek of all the Star Trek. I haven't seen Discovery yet. I have not seen, obviously, the Picards. I'm watching them in order with the wife, and we paused long enough to watch Orville, and we're almost done with it. Have you seen the Orville?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah. Between work, this, and some video games.
Of course, yeah, video games. I want to tell you something. This is something I don't believe I've brought up yet on a stream. So, Dave, if you're listening, I play a video game called Sins of a Solar Empire. And I looked up one day, and I was fixing to play the game. And I was looked up, and on the game, on Steam, it'll tell you how long you've been playing that game. How much time you've put into that game. And I just happened to notice it said I had been playing like 678 hours I had spent playing that game. And I thought, man, if I had spent that much time doing anything constructive, I'd be able to play the guitar. I'd be able to play the piano, the cello. I could do something, So I actually took up the cello just after that. And I've been teaching myself the cello for 4 years now, almost 5 years.
Cool. Next step is to play the cello while I play that video game.
Well, with that game, you probably could. I could just, it's one of those slow thinking kind of games. So, yeah.
So back to your story.
Well, yeah, that was kind of it. Like I said, my mom, by the time she died, she had moved away from religion so far, she just wanted a barbecue. Didn't want any kind of service. Then like I said, Star Trek really influenced me. Matter of fact, I did theater in West Texas. I actually did Romeo and Juliet. I was in Romeo and Juliet. I was in several Shakespeare plays at the Globe of the Southwest directly because of the influence on me by Patrick Stewart and his performance as Captain Picard in The Next Generation. Because he liked Shakespeare, got me into Shakespeare, and I ended up doing Shakespeare. Matter of fact, I have a video on one of my clips here. It's talking about astrology being just nutbaggery. Why astrology is crazy. Well, Shakespeare had a monologue about he was mocking, one of his characters was mocking astrology. And I interspersed me reciting that monologue in one of my things. So fun. Star Trek and the cello. Yes. And I'm also self-taught on the piano, but it's been so long that I can only play a few songs now. So
yeah, my journey was not as almost same as yours. I was Southern Baptist. Pretty much, I was my mom took for a while. My mom took me daily every Sunday, weekly every Sunday, and then we stopped going for 3 years, from like 1990, 1994, 3-4 years, where I stayed home on Sundays and watched the History Channel. Back when the History Channel was actually history,
when it was still history and not ancient aliens
or like
ghost hunters.
Yeah, like that. There's this thing called History for Kids, cartoon series that I loved, and all that other shows. So I watched them, learned about prehistoric, humans and stuff, and America, and all that jazz. And of course, then I went back from 94 to 2009. I started going tri-weekly, Sunday mornings, Sunday nights, and Wednesdays. I even
you had it bad.
Yeah, well, it was the only thing people. It was really the only socializing I did for a long time because I didn't have friends at school. So that's the only thing hard about getting out. Sometimes I like to meet like this here because they have a really big community and stuff, so make you feel included.
Right, of course, yeah.
But
it's part of the trap.
My dad never went, and it was and my house was kind of turned in two directions. My house was one way. That's when I started. My parents started going out. My family started going out too, because the church I was going to the time started doing less, I guess, religious stuff, give or take, and started going to more political stuff.
Yeah.
That's why I never. Like, you should vote this way if you're a Christian. I'm like, what?
I know, it really bugs me whenever politics gets into my religion. Yep. So, oddly, go ahead. I'm sorry. Carry on.
So then my family started slipping away. I was the last holdout. I was just staying there to help out stuff. Because I at the time I had like responsibilities there. I helped the kids and the teenagers, the youth, and the puppet shows. I did. But then finally, I just said screw it too and left.
Gotcha. And here we are.
That's about 2009.
Really?
2009, 11 was when I started. For a while, becoming a non-church Christian. People still believe, but didn't go to church anymore.
Right.
And I started watching channels, all these different channels on YouTube. And I'm thinking, did I really think? And people like the really crazy Christians, like the Westboro Baptist people and stuff like that. Like, and how creationists are stupid and stuff. And I started slowly drifting until here I am.
Looks like Jambalaya is talking at you in the chat there.
Oh, thanks.
So, hi, Jambalaya. Hola, señor. ¿Qué pasó?
Yes.
Buenos días.
She is my thumbnail maker. She's excellent at it.
Hola, señorita. Buenos días. Hi, Jambalaya. I'm sorry. I know I'm not saying it right. Well, the Jim threw me off. It's my bad. I'm sorry. Hello. You're a thumbnail maker, huh? That's awesome.
Yeah. I had an old one, but we had a falling out about 2 years ago.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because of my depression, anxiety issues, and
yeah,
it's like my group of co-hosts couldn't handle it. But then I did a reboot of the podcast last season, and still going.
There you go. And here we are again. You know, that seems to be my recurring phrase this evening is, and here we are. Yeah. Oh yeah. You know, one of the things I wanted to ask you about what you do was I wanted to ask if you got pressed. Was it something you saw that made you want to start speaking out and create your channel and doing what you're doing? What got you into doing what you do?
Well, I see. Well, I originally started my channel, named my channel to overcome my hatred for my school. I used to hate my school and stuff because I was bullied in school a lot. One, because of my speech impediment, talking problem I have, and two, because someone started a rumor I was gay once, and you know that didn't go around very well. So I'll tease a boy of that, but then I was like, I was making something positive. Try to turn it around to something positive, and I think I've done that.
Yeah.
I originally started making videos to help my friend with his band.
Right.
My first video was about how they could have videos about the band behind the scenes and stuff, but the band fell apart to that. So then that's why 2-year gap there. And then I was thinking about making Christian videos like puppet shows and stuff for kids, and stuff like that. That's around the time after the time that I quit going to church, so that didn't work out either. So
yeah, well, it's unfortunate people would treat you that way. People are they can be so ugly. They can be so, especially kids. They don't think about the things they say sometimes. So yeah, and it's good. Well, it's good that you turned it into something positive. Here you got your little channel.
Yeah, and then I started making vlogs for a while, and then I learned about Let's Players. So I started making some video game videos too, but that's a little harder because you gotta have a good computer for that.
Right. Yeah.
My computer isn't the best anymore. My computer now is like 4 years old. So, and then then like 8 years ago when I started this, I was watching this other podcast about Warcraft. And I volunteered. They were looking for people to help edit and stuff. So I'm like, oh yeah, or produce. Like I'll do that. So I learned how to use. At the time, it was XSplit. It was almost like OBS kind of. But
yeah.
So I learned that, and then that podcast fell apart. So I'm like, so I decided to take my skills to make my own podcast.
And here, yeah, now you got it all set up. Well, I was actually your 1,000th subscriber.
Awesome.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember that or not. I was there. You were streaming with somebody, and
I think I was either I was a guest on the Friday Night Six Pack, or he was my guest.
Yeah, one or the other. Yeah, I'm not sure which, but yeah, I was there, and I got to be your 1,000th subscriber. I'm actually at 600. I'm almost to 600. Let me see where I'm at. I've been kind of in this little bit of a race to see. I'm trying to get to 666. I'm at 581 now, so I'm still a little ways to go.
So you have a favorite episode that you made that stands out to you?
In my video series or something?
Yeah.
I actually do. I have a series that I'm working on now called The Evil God Monster of Abraham. It's.
Oh yeah, I checked that out. I've seen a few episodes.
Yeah, I dig it. I'm to episode 6. I got to work on episode 7.
So you're doing one episode per chapter?
Yes, I'm doing a chapter a week.
So that's gonna take you like what?
I'll never finish ever.
If you're doing a book a week, that'd be 66 weeks. But a chapter a week would be like,
right?
Geez.
Yeah, I'm trying to prove a point. Hey, thank you, Jambalaya. I'm in 2013, I wrote a book called TTwC, and in that book I referred to God as the evil God monster of Abraham, and I referred to the Bible as the book of death. And I have decided to take the opportunity and use the Bible to show and exemplify why I call it that, to justify why I call it the book of death and the evil God monster of Abraham. So I go through chapter by chapter and go, look at what this horrible, vile creature does in this. Now, I don't believe in God. I'm talking about this is the God they believed in and wrote down. And it's just this horrible monster. It's right from the very start. Murder, death, kill, murder, death, kill. The first children that are born into its world, I would almost say, coerces into killing one another for its attention and love. That's what happens. These kind of things are just throughout the Bible,
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. This is like how they... Bible aside, not really, but that how they use it as a history book and science book and stuff like that. Like,
yes.
Like when I had Eric in my chat on my channel, we were discussing his after show debate, and we actually had the person he debated on the channel too. We were asking him questions, and I was asking him about. Well, like I said, I've always been into history. So how can there be like Native Americans over here in America, 10,000 years ago if the flood happened 4,000 years ago? And he's like, how do you know that archaeologists aren't lying? I'm like, I don't know. I'm an archaeologist. He's like, that's not a good enough answer. Like, well, I'm not. I don't have the. I had to, don't really know, but there's evidence there. But they could be lying.
Excuse me. Well, here's the deal about archaeology. Anybody can do it. The person you're talking to is perfectly free to go down to any university as long as they can afford a university, or go to Germany. They'll teach it to you for free. Learn archaeology, then they can go use the tools themselves and understand why these answers. I mean, it's not like it's locked behind a door, this secret key. And that's that nobody can know. We've got the answer right here, and you can go look at it anytime you want. Matter of fact, we've got evidence in thousands of museums across the world. And, the Indians is here in North America is a wonderful example of the lack of a great flood. Floods do happen, yes. Bad floods, yes. But a global flood that killed off everything but this single family is just a ridiculous notion. Never happened. Never happened.
Yeah, back when I still believed in the flood happened, I was like confused for a bit. It's like I was trying to justify it, in my head sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, how can a flood have happened 4,000 years ago if we were over here 10,000 years ago? So I'm like, I figured it out in my head for a long time. I said, obviously the flood happened before 10,000 years ago. Duh.
Yeah, I guess so, huh?
Because if we were 10,000 years ago and the flood had to happen because the Bible said it happened.
Right.
So I had to so I just moved it back a bit to like 20,000 years ago or 40,000 years ago. Or like when that big super volcano happened and we were like, our bottleneck happened. that was a bottleneck.
I remember being a Christian and trying to justify that myself. I also, I had a friend. I have a friend. He's still a friend who used to tell me that the water from the Great Flood, came out of the Grand Canyon in Arizona, and that's where it came from, and it shot into the sky. And
I actually saw a video like that when I went to the museum a few years ago. Before I started going to church, we took a trip to the Creation Museum because we live an hour away from it. So it's like, okay, they actually had a little video there of the Earth like geyser.
Yeah. Well, there are things to consider. We can consider some things. Let's think about this for just a moment. Around several, we've found throughout our solar system ice. We know there's ice in like the rings of Saturn. Is that right? There's ice freaking everywhere, and there's lots and lots and lots of ice everywhere, right? So were our planet to go through a large area of ice to which it would cause some blah, 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 not impossible at all. Not impossible. But there would be clear evidence that this had happened. I mean, if you want to reconcile it scientifically, there would be clear evidence of something like this happening. And it'd be global evidence all over the world, right? So, yeah. Eric says that he's a Christian and accepts evolution, and the Bible was never meant to be a science book. And that's true.
I like people about Eric and stuff, because most of the creationist people, like Ken Ham and stuff, they try to do like a us versus them mentality. Like if you're a Christian, you have to be a creationist, and if you're evolutionist, you're automatically an atheist.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. We're not as many of us are on such opposing sides. That's true. Yeah, and a lot of the things in the Bible are metaphors, or a lot of them are stories. But what I maintain about the Bible are things like, listen, if you were gonna give us some perfect information, there are better things they could have put in the Bible. But their Bible is so tainted with the word of man, the work of man. Go read the NIV Testament, the NIV, and it's different than the King James, which is different than and it's just how anybody, it just kind of gets me. But the deal is really, it's kind of blood from the beginning all the way to the end. Jesus himself is literally a blood sacrifice. He's, I guess, supposed to be the last blood sacrifice, but Jesus, now, if you think about this is the truth. Jesus is a human sacrifice in the Christian religion. And that's true. And this is all, when you read it, it's all kind of a craziness that goes on that I just I don't want to get too far into it. That's not really why you wanted me here, I'm sure. I could tend to go off on the whole. Kim Ham. There's a good one, Kim Ham.
Well, that's one of the catchphrases of my channel. My ending catchphrase is never stop learning and enjoy the randomness, because I really don't have any. Most channels some of the time have one constant thing they do, but I'm all over the place.
Gotcha. Yeah, so
it's very rarely that we ever stay on topic about anything.
Yeah, well, I'll try to step away from my pulpit, Pun intended, thoughts and prayers.
Pulpit, were you ever or did you ever want to be like a pastor like that?
I can't really say I ever wanted to be a pastor, only in that I always saw a pastor as a person who had a line to walk that I didn't think I could walk. You know what I mean? But I always felt I would make a really good one. I feel I could get people worked up. I could get them. Me and Chris, the atheist pastor, were talking about. He's really good at it too. But there are methods, there are things that you can do, and I'm really a personable guy, so I can get folk worked up. I could get, especially if you have the power of Jesus flowing through you. Can you feel it, brothers? Just the Spirit washing over you, and you just start riling them up. I could be so good at this. I mean, and now we're going to pass around the tithe bucket. Drop your dollars in there.
Yeah, I actually wanted to be one. I thought it looked good in school to be one, but for kids or teenagers. So because I had a role like a role model, I guess, back then. Because I remember two sermons I listened to one time more than anything else. One of them lasted 15 minutes. It was boring as hell. It felt like forever.
Gotcha.
The other one lasted 2 hours. Didn't even know it lasted 2 hours because I was so he such a good speaker, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I went to my friend was waiting for me in the car. I went out there like, hey, you just get here? Like, no, I've been here for an hour. Like, what? You've been here for an hour? Like, I'm like, oh my god, it's been 2 hours.
Yeah.
Because he was like a youth pastor, so I'm
Good.
like, he's like really to speak to kids. So I guess it was.
Yeah, well, I've thought about it. I just never really did it. And of course, I don't believe now.
Yeah.
I got to be honest. It does seem like easy money. You know, if it's it seems like it'd be easy money.
Probably more for the bigger ones than the little ones.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, no, I mean, if I was a believer, it would be one thing. I could just sit here and I could rally up my friends. I could go Jesus and just start, I mean, just, hey, we need donations for this. Mother Mary loves you or whatever. They're always, they're just so, that's one of the things they're good at that we atheists are not, is coming together and supporting each other in the kind of ways that they need to do it. Part of it's just ignorance, but here in our group, we have a hard time staying organized, especially during things like legislation. They're pushing through legislation that is forcing religion on children in our schools, and they are organized and have money, and we are not organized and we don't have the money to fight it.
Yeah, like for example, a few months ago, I was on Facebook. I don't know how true Facebook is, but about how Ohio was trying to pass a law that makes you can get scientific answers wrong if your religion said so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Because my religion said the Earth is flat, so yeah.
That's right.
I get this question right.
That's a lot. That leaves it. Yeah, that's right. That leaves a lot open, doesn't it, to interpretation? I don't know how strict their rules were. Could you switch religions mid school if this thing bothered you? I don't know. But, well, there's the thing like Devin Graham down in Florida. She's with American Atheist. She is fighting a bill that would force a moment of silence on all the students in the schools of Florida. In Mississippi, I think they just passed something, or they're trying to pass something, or I'm not sure, but it's to where they'll have to say the Lord's Prayer or something like that before, because like I said, they're organized. They've got money. They've got finances. They've got people trying to move their thing. And we as a group, atheists, are not.
Yeah.
So,
I think not a joke, but I talk about this, as like, think about like, well, what if one day you pass this law, right? Say a prayer. Well, what if one day some like Muslims get control of America? It's not possible. Probably not possible. They control America. They start. Okay, school prayer, but now we're doing the prayer to Allah instead of like Bible God. Like we don't want to do that, but that's the law now. So you made that law. Prayer is our prayer now. So deal with it.
Yeah. Like on the money, when are they going to start putting, what is it, in Allah we trust? When are they going to do that? They wouldn't like that very much. I would like to see, it is on the dollar, right? It's been a long time since I've looked at a dollar bill. They're kind of dirty. But somewhere on there it says "In God We Trust," or it did. I can't see it. I got my glasses. Anyway, I would like to see, the flying spaghetti monster in FSM We Trust. That would just be the delight of my day. I should make my own money.
He sounds delicious.
Yes. What's the saying? He boiled for our sins. I love that. That's wonderful. Have you ever read that? The actual, some kind of protest. He wrote it in protest, I believe, to some kind of Kansas school board decision, blah, 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 blah. Have you ever read The Flying Spaghetti Monster, the original?
No.
No, it's pretty interesting. One of these days.
Yeah. Well, I haven't really read that many books lately. Read actual books lately. I have been audiobooking for a while.
Yeah. Well, in this case, it's just all it is a letter. It's a 1-page letter, I think, and it's to the school board of, I think, Kansas, right? I'm totally unprepared. Weed brain. But he writes it. So he's protested. It's in defiance to this thing they're trying to do in school to force something on somebody for something. Sort of like you said, whenever they put somebody's religion in there, they're not really being specific as to which one. And he took opportunity with that, I believe, and he created the Flying Spaghetti Monster. I can believe in any deity I want, so I believe in this Flying Spaghetti Monster. He kind of went off on it. It's pretty good. I don't remember the guy's name. Been a day or three.
Oh, so what do you do? What do you do for fun when you're not making your channel?
Well, I'm a heathen. I do what heathens do. Worship the devil, sacrifice people to Satan, eat babies, that sort of thing. Same thing any other atheist does. As I mentioned, I like to play the cello. I play the cello. I play the piano. Hablo español. Parlo italiano.
Yeah, the most Spanish I ever had was watching Sesame Street in the early days, back when they had Spanish people in fifth grade Spanish for 6 weeks.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Watching Sesame Street in the early days in the 80s when I had Spanish people on the show, and then fifth grade language for 6 weeks.
Gotcha. If I'd have answered your question with watching Sesame Street, you would have laughed at me, and everybody would have laughed at me. What I do when I'm not making my channel, watching. So they said, do young Earth creationists even realize that if they take the flood literally, then that would mean the whole world was repopulated through incest? That's a great question. Do you write your own compositions? Me. Music. No, I'm not good enough to do that. I just play. I learn a few songs and play. So, yeah.
I've sang a few. I sang a few cover songs on my channel.
I've thought about that. I've thought about doing that. I'm a big Sawyer Brown fan. I like some country from back in the 80s. I don't like listening to the country now. It's just the crap I like to sing to. I've thought about making myself a separate little channel and hiding my identity, covering my face.
Yeah, I
singing my little song.
love country back in the late 90s. I used to listen all the time. That I call it my goth period. Not really goth, but I wore for 4 years when I was being bullied.
Mm-hmm.
I wore all black. Listen to country because it was depressing. Like of a black wearing country player. Plus, I had a crush on Leanne Rimes.
Yeah, who didn't, right?
Yeah,
true. I was Shania Twain kind of girl. I like her. She's something else. Her and that Dorito lady.
Yeah, I thought, hey, she's about my age. It could happen.
It could happen. Don't write it off. Stranger things have happened. That's right.
It was between her and Topanga from Boy Meets World.
Yeah, I missed out on her. I didn't really never knew her. I remember I'm old enough to have had a crush on Reba McEntire. I thought Reba McEntire and Shania Twain fighting each other over me would be the ideal situation. If we just get a blonde in there, that'd have topped it all off. Actually, Crystal Gale. Do you guys remember Crystal Gale? Anybody here old enough to remember Crystal Gale? Crystal, if you're watching this, I don't mean to insult your age. Somehow I think she's not. But anyway, Crystal Gale, and there was another chick with her. They had this really long hair back in the 80s, singing their country music.
Dolly Parton?
No, Dolly Parton went out forward, not necessarily down in the back. There was Crystal Gale, had really long hair, and then another chick, another female singer, also about that same time, had really long dark hair. So escapes me the other one's name.
So, yeah, of games, me and Jim Belaya and some other guests made a 7 podcast episode series about a game, Danganronpa game series.
Really?
Yeah, it's just check it out if you either the podcast or the game itself. It's a visual novel game about solving murder mysteries.
Really?
And it's very and if you're into characters, it's very depressing if you get the characters too much.
Is it?
Because it'll make you cry if you're like oh my god, they're dead. Oh my god. I look at what's episode of the anime. It still makes me cry when this one girl dies. It's just brutal, and
you're not going to cry now, are you? That's okay. I might cry.
Yeah, her death's brutal if you watch it.
What's this show called? Because I know it's going to sound weird, but I'm actually a guy who likes things that pull the tears out of you. My wife will be sitting there watching. We'll be watching a movie, and I'll be bawling like a baby.
The anime is called Dog Naropa. Dog. Wait,
Dog.
Type in chat, Jambalaya, if you're there. Dog Naropa 3, DANG, the Despair arc.
It's a game.
No, well, this anime is based on the game.
Okay.
It's like a whole thing. There's like 5 games and 1 anime.
Gotcha.
Either watch in order to even make any sense of it.
Yeah. Well, I enjoy gaming. I'm not terribly into depressing games that make me want to, jump in front of a bus. But I got it. Dang, I got it. I see it. Okay, cool. The last game I think I played was one of the Tomb Raider series. The wife she doesn't play the game, or play games, but she really enjoys watching me play them. So we play. I ran through the Tomb Raider. I've thought about getting a Twitch channel up and hooking it up to all my other social media and playing games on it. Do you?
Yeah, I have a Twitch channel. It's time for if I said broadcast my games on here or Twitch, or do it at the same time, like like restream, you can do it both at the same time. It's weird. It takes if you do both, I feel like, or you either get more viewers or less viewers on each thing. It's just weird how it works.
Yeah. I'm not really sure. But my deal is, I'm working this channel as a business, and I'm trying to drive it. Of course, I have a message I'm trying to create, but I'm trying to create it in the form of a business. Obviously, right? Most of us are doing it. Just a lot of us just don't want to talk about that part of it.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of want to move it in that direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I have a Patreon. I don't really do it advertise it much because I have no idea what to do with it. I have no idea what kind of rewards I have or have rewards at all, or what my goals would be. So I'm trying to. I know I should have some maybe, but I have no idea what I should do for it.
Well, you know what I did is I went to and because I'm kind of new to all this, I went and found another content creator who had a Patreon that seemed relatively successful. And I had set up my tiers similar to theirs. Not identical, but similar. I got the basic idea, in tier 1, you get early access to my scripts and you get access to my Discord and stuff like that. And then they get more. I have 3 $3 patrons. So I've got one where if you're a patron, you get early access to my videos, but I don't have any patrons at that level, which is lucky for me because I've been so busy, I don't drop the videos until the day of, so they wouldn't really get anything for that. So
yeah, I don't really make any scripted videos, so I can't really do that either. Most of my videos is stuff I do that like games or this, so it's like or randomly walking videos. I call the walking vlogs.
Yeah. I don't know. In my case, I thought about doing other channels and creating other channels or completely unrelated to this. Yeah. And like I was saying earlier, if I did the Critical Dave is here, right? Dave, everybody knows Dave.
Yeah.
I had this notion, I'm going to create a channel separate. Nobody's going to know. It's going to be me alone. And I'm going to create it so I can do my cover songs. So I'm going to cover my face and I'm going to sing all pretty like, and I'm going to put it up on the interwebs and nobody's going to know. And then I'll put in the right keywords, and those people who like that kind of thing will find it, and they'll like it, and nobody will know. And I just have this vision for premiering my first video, and there being somebody go, woof. Dave stalking me. I could just see that happening. Hi, Dave.
Yeah.
He's just, every time I'm in a live stream, Dave is there. That's one of the things. I'll tell the story. When I started doing the Daily Atheist morning show, it's kind of hard to just get up there and talk about nothing for an hour or however long. And whenever I first started, Dave and Matthew, Atheist, that they would show up in my channel and they would watch those first few. If it hadn't been for them, man, it wouldn't have gone anywhere. So having the support,
yeah, it's nice to have an initial fan base.
Yes. And I've come to know now that there's this group of them that are really awesome. Math Pig and Dave, and then there's all the Aussies. Such a wonderful group of people. They've been very, very awesome so far. They keep me busy. If I ever need a co-host, there's Jay from the End of Conspiracy Channel. He's always there.
Yeah, he was your guest for this morning, right?
Yeah, my guest host this morning. Yeah. Guest host, something like that. Yeah. Well, the problem with this morning, no fault on Jay. The problem with this morning's show is that I did not prepare enough for the aliens, and I'm not really impassioned by the alien movies. So the next time we have a topic-specific Saturday show, I really need to watch a couple of the movies or something before the show. I mean, I've seen them all. It's just been a day or three.
Yeah, I haven't really seen any sci-fi movies really that much. Besides, the Star series, Wars, Trek, and stuff.
Yeah.
The last non-fantasy, I would say fantasy movie I saw was, I think it was Interstellar.
Interstellar with that guy. I know which one you're talking about. Yeah,
it's the one where you land a planet near a black hole, whatever, and like 20 years passes up where you are at, and
right,
2 minutes passes down here. I think that was the thing.
Yep.
After seeing that, I thought about some of the people that say how we're in like a black hole thing. You heard that theory before?
We're in a black hole. The entire universe is in a black hole. Yeah.
Well, Earth is, and stuff like that's why. Space looks different, I guess.
No, I haven't heard that.
How that works? How they say it? But I think it's a creationist thing or something like that, where we're 6 days past here, but a billion years past or something else. I forget the exact argument was, but I thought about that. At the movie, like wait a minute, wouldn't that mean if when astronauts came to the moon and back, they'd be like 50 years older or something?
Yeah, that kind of would. It just depends, but yeah, I've never heard that. I've heard that about the notion that our entire universe is encapsulated within a black hole, which is in another universe. So, but I don't know. I don't know about that. Oh, you know what? Jambalaya. Alien is awesome. And Aliens, I agree with Jambalaya. The first two Alien movies are the best ones. The rest of it, kind of really hard to get me through them. Now, this is my deal. Hey, there's Jay. Jay's going to hear this again. With first Alien movie, you didn't want to be there. There was no way. Undomesticated equines could not drag me onto that ship. The second movie, though, I kind of wanted to be there, shooting the aliens with the gun and killing them, and yeehaw, we're in some real pretty shit now, man. I really would have loved that, but the first one, I didn't want to be anywhere near that. Nope. Yeah. Nope.
Yeah, I haven't really been into me with my stomach. I never really been into bloody horror movies like that, or graphic blowing things up that much. More as this
Yeah, no, I have to agree. I'm not really a scary movie person normally. Just kind of doesn't really do it for me. I like science fiction. Scary science fiction is not generally my thing. Of course, first time I saw Aliens, I was like 12. Something like that. So, I was into that thing. I remember we used to have these two trailer houses side by side. My mom's trailer house and my older brother, he lived in another trailer house right beside us. And he was watching Aliens. This is my older brother. He was big, he wasn't bigger. I don't know if I'm 6'3" and he's like 5'11". So take that for what it is. Anyway, he's still my older brother, my big brother. I go over there to watch I'm going to go over there to watch the movie with him. And he's already started it. And I can see as I'm walking up, I come up the steps, I can see in his window and I see him. He's sitting in his chair, up here like this in his chair, watching the movie, rocking back and forth. Yep. Good memories that's Alien, Alien, that was Aliens, I think. So yeah, see, Jambalaya is right. The first one was so scary because of the isolationism and all that. I was really happy with the movie, that especially now, because I didn't know nothing about feminism or none of that stuff, but I'm really happy that that she lived and made it through instead of the guy. I thought Dallas was going to make it, the captain with the beard, the handsome man with the beard, strapping and strong. He always survives. He's the hero of the movie every time. It was nice to see Sigourney Weaver live, kill the alien, see her in her panties. Can't say that. That was the best part of the whole movie. Best part of the whole movie for a 12, 13-year-old boy. Sigourney Weaver in her panties. All that adrenaline went, wait, what? So yeah, there was that. They didn't have a panty scene in the second movie that I remember. I would probably remember. Anyway, so yeah.
So you made a lot of friends in your circle, like ETC and Dave.
Mm-hmm. I have. Actually, a lot of it. Do you know Kristen? Everybody knows Kristen. Best name ever.
No,
she goes by Best. No. Oh, well, you might. Anyway, Dave one time drugged me onto another show. Said, "Hey, somebody's over here doing a show. You should come be on their stream." And then Kristen has done the same thing. She'd drag me to the other people's streams and then get me involved in their stream, and they've been very, very helpful, especially in the beginning when I was first started live streaming. I was kind of afraid. I got to be honest, it's intimidating. I hadn't done it. I had a hard time recording the scripted videos on my camera. That's scripted, right? So it's not live. It's me alone in the room. If my wife was in the house, I had a hard time recording those because I got this stage fright, I guess you might say.
Yeah.
So you perfectly agree. So the notion of getting up on a live stream and just talking to folk really was scary. And then Dave, I think, was it Dave? Was it you who took me over to Atheist Pastor stream or Math Pig stream? I remember being drugged. Somebody drugged me to one of them and said, "Hey, get Chris in on your stream." So they sent me a link, and man, I was terrified. And I went in and I just sit there quiet, like every now and then I say, "Hi, I'm Chris," or whatever. And I just sit there and yep, that's right. That's all you'd get. I was just terrible. And now I'm like, "You want to stream? I'll stream. Let's stream. I want to stream right now. Let's stream. I'm streaming. Let's stream."
Yeah, I do have issues sometimes, but back in school, I hated the way I looked on camera. I thought I looked stupid and ugly. My voice sounded terrible. So I'm like, I know. I'll become a photographer. That way, I'm not in the picture. I'll be taking it. So I started taking pictures and stuff and running video cameras for other people, So I'm like, so I help out and stuff. But I rarely be in the things. But then one day from the time I stopped going to the church, I was angry about that, and my anger trumped my shyness. So that's why I started doing videos. Making my own videos because my shyness got trumped by my anger at the time.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, one of the things for me, I wrote a book back in 2013 and about atheism, and then never really followed up so much. I was a member of the community only on Facebook. I didn't go into the atheist meetings. I didn't eat any of the atheist babies. I didn't do any of that stuff.
So it's like a published book you can buy and stuff.
Yeah, you can buy it off Amazon.
Well, I've been trying to write a book forever, but procrastination, and self-confidence issues.
Yeah, well,
Jim Belite's trying to help me with that. She's also my editor and stuff, so she help you edit stuff.
Gotcha. That's awesome. It's just a regular book you can buy off Amazon. I mean, it's not. I published it on Amazon. There's no magic. No guarantee it'll be good. I self-published it. Could be anything. Just pictures of me in my man panties walking around for all you know. But it's I published it back in 2010. I've got another one in the drawer. I got a manuscript for a sci-fi story. I'm dying to drop it. I just want to build my audience a little bit more. I let a book club read it, not realizing it was a Christian-based book club, and then they went down there and they just trashed me the whole way. Because of obviously it was, my book is very progressive and very liberal because that's the way I am, So I got this sci-fi book that has these notions, how, extended out and what the ramifications. And it also, in the book, I also kind of talk about the worst things that could happen if Republican or conservatives got in office and, all this stuff. So yeah, it didn't go over very well. I thought if I re-released it with a new liberal-minded group like my friends here, they would probably love it. I'd like to get somebody to animate it for me. That's what I would like. And Neil, yes, Neil.
So how long did it take you to realize that it was a Christian group in your book?
Critical Cripple. I didn't say man fanny. I said man panties. That's what I call my underwear. Man panties. My man panties. It's just something I say for my wife.
You know before you went down there? Or
I'm sorry?
When you realized they were a Christian group revising your book, did you know before you went down there or halfway during the review?
Yeah, well, we corresponded and I sent him the book and I didn't know. He just said it was a book club and I thought that was great. And so when I went down there, I go down to sit down and I noticed the first thing I noticed is this one guy. He was kind of like in biker garb, kind of like Neil. Not, like Neil, 604. He kind of looked like dressed like him. But he had this big old cross, big old iron cross dangling from his neck. This other lady had these little earrings that were crosses. And I was like, man, this ain't going to be good. And the deal of the thing was they'd all read the book. And now it was what was going to happen was I was supposed to sit there at the end of this table and they go one at a time, giving me their review. And I can't say anything. I cannot defend myself. I can't say anything. I have to just sit there and listen. And, so it was a very long day because I'm a passionate person. I'm like, wait a second, that's a bunch of shit. You didn't, that, and I start going there like, no, you can't say nothing. You just need to sit there. And I'm like, all right. So they'd be going, I'd be like, wait. And they, no, you got to just sit there. I'm like, really? This is a bunch of shit. Excuse my language. Pardon my French. But yes, man panties. Yeah. So that did not go well. And since that, I kind of, at that point, I put it back in the shelf. It kind of really kicked my confidence in its teeth. And I put it back in the shelf in a drawer, but man, in my mind, it's a wonderful story. And I don't want to go off on it here because,
yeah,
I don't want
it'd be like, writing a Star Trek book and taking it to a truly only Star Wars fanatic.
Something like that.
Group is like,
or a Harry Potter fan. Harry Potter, yeah. Yeah, so that's, I don't know, it did not go well. So, but I want to tinker with the ending just a little bit, tinker with the opening just a little bit, and then I want to re-release it whenever I'm ready. I think what I'm going to try to do is get up to 10,000 subscribers on Facebook and at that point, or on YouTube. And at that point, if I can ever get that high, I'll release it and continue working. Because I have 3 books completely planned out and a 10-episode arc after that. So
yeah, me too. I have this whole book series planned out in my head and some on paper. It's just getting the details down,
Yeah, clearing the fog away.
Yeah, it's basically, mine's more sci-fi fantasy reality book. It's kind of like my life growing up if it had science fiction in it.
Yeah. Well, there you go. My story opens up with there's this species of aliens that kind of resemble what we would think of as angels. They're aware of our religious people here on Earth, so they attack and they're trying to bring out the revelation. So the opening of the book is my interpretation of Revelation. God returned. That's how they're making it look. Boom, big army attacking from space. So that's how the book opens. Is this alien attack?
Yeah. I have aliens in mine too, but people think they're like demons and stuff.
Actually, in my story, it's complicated. There's demons there too, but they're not the bad guys. The same thing though. It's just evolved creatures. So it's a long story. It's a long story for my own channel that I really should probably put out there.
Yeah. There's another theory I had some time ago too. Like what if all the gods and stuff in the past were just aliens fighting over Earth? Like aliens are like, okay, these aliens are like, okay, this is Greek over here. Greek is my land over here. And other aliens are like, okay, we'll be up here with the Vikings. The other aliens like, we over here with over here by the Middle East, Israel and stuff. So like, or over here in Egypt, like the aliens just divide up the planet.
Yeah, that's kind of like Stargate. Actually, Stargate took a really good play on that. All their Goa'ulds were lords from ancient, Baal or Egypt or various places. Thank you, Jambalaya. That's great. I like I said, I have it in manuscript form, and I'm waiting to to drop it. The notion, I don't want to, I tell you, I have a really cool idea for who these people are. And I want to tell you folks, I want to tell you so bad, but if I tell you, you're going to be like, no way, that is freaking awesome. You're going to be like, that's awesome. Awesome. But I can't tell you. I can't tell you who these angel folk are because they're not actually from out there. See, that's the hard part to get your mind wrapped around. They're not actually from out there. They're from here. And that's the climax. So, but you'd be like, man, that is freaking awesome. All day long.
Yeah, I met Jambalaya on a Danganronpa fan fiction site where we both wrote and read fan fiction of that game series, anime series. And I saw her story and I invited her to be part of my Discord. And now she's fixing my thumbnails and helps me edit stuff. So it's big circle there.
All right. Well, that's See, I can't. She wants me to tell, and I can't tell. I may tell later. Because it's actually in the book, it tells in the first book. It's like, this is where they come from, and this is the deal. And you're like, wow, that's awesome. I think it's awesome. If anybody out there who's seen Stargate, take Stargate, take Star Trek, take Star Wars, and they're all kind of wrapped into it. I've got ancient gods who are now, though actually the opening story, right? The ones who are claiming to be God in the beginning. It opens over Richmond, Virginia. And things are just going fine, everything. And then just boom, this big golden globe. It's just a big golden orb with flames rising up, comes up. And then all across the world, everybody's mobile device goes blank and a voice says, come, just like in the Bible, in Revelations. And then this smaller red globe comes out, and that's the red, the different 4 horsemen come out, and they start wreaking havoc as they move off towards various corners of the globe. And doing their thing. That's really the end times of Revelation. That's how these aliens are trying to pull it off. So that's just the beginning. So I'm excited. Yeah, Jambalaya, follow me. We'll text. I'm not afraid to talk about it. I'll tell you about it. I just don't want to chew up the remainder of our time here with my story. But I get excited. I need to get that sucker rolling.
You put it on Google Docs and share it with everybody.
Yeah. Well, I want to actually. I really want to publish it. I've thought about, like I said, and in my story, like I said, there's these aliens pretending to be angels. Well, the jig is up. We know who they are. They're not that, but we have drones out in space that we control with video games on our phone. So we have people here on Earth fighting to save us on their mobile devices as a game. So there's also a game built into the story. So if I had the money to have a game developed, I would have a game developed to go along with the story. So you're fighting. So playing
the game on their phone, not knowing they're really fighting real aliens.
Yes, exactly correct. That's the deal. They're fighting real aliens.
Kind of like what the Atari game Asteroids, like that. That's the game, or
maybe, or something. Well, there was a movie called The Last Starfighter. But it's not kind of like that. I guess in a way. But no, they're quantum entanglement is how, because there's a delay. Anyway, I got answers for it all. It's pretty nerdy sci-fi.
You're probably old enough like me to remember Atari.
Oh yeah, I remember it. I remember before Atari, brother. Yeah, that's how old I am. Jesus is gray. They white. Pong, yeah. Pong. Yeah. Doyle 52 card deck. Yeah. Pong I think was actually one of our first games. It came on a little paddle, 2 different separate paddles.
Yeah. I made a game like that. I made a joke once, where the people were complaining about the video game graphics, like these graphics. I made not a joke, but they're like, these games aren't realistic. These graphics aren't realistic at all. They're totally lame and stuff. And I'm like, well, go back and play original Mario and Atari, and now tell me how good these graphics are now.
Oh yeah. Well, the graphics can be better now, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get a better game.
True.
Some of the older games, like you said, Mario. That was I can't tell you how many hours I burned playing Mario.
Yeah, I thought my dad to play video games. It was. I still remember this when he was like playing the game. He made the Mario jump. He jumped him, like he made the controller jump too. Like,
Bye, Dave. Dave is leaving. I'm just saying bye to Dave. Bye, Dave. Dave's leaving. Dave's not here, man. Bye, Dave. Yes, you move the controller. Yes, the whole thing. No, you talking about the Atari controller when you're playing it?
Well, Nintendo when he button to jump, he
Well,
to do that too.
Yeah. I used to, my neighbors down there. All right. So you'll hear this often if you listen to my stories. We'll kind of talk about how poor I was as a kid. Oftentimes, I played games, but they weren't my games. I had toys, but they weren't my toys. I'd go down to my neighbor's kids and they had toys. Anyway, the neighbor kids down the road, they had an Atari 2600, and their mom would play that game at Pac-Man, and she would just be up here like this, just working that Pac-Man. She just worked it. I used to love watching her, but they were kind of cruel. We'd go down there. Me and my twin brother, I had a twin brother. We'd go down there and hang out with these brothers, and they would play their Atari and not let us play. Even if one of them wasn't there, the other one would play a single player game or a two-player game like Tank all by himself, and we would just watch. He wouldn't let us play. I mean, so every now and then, there was times they would let us play, but it was kind of more often they did stuff like that. So yeah, a lot of that shit happened. Yes. I just want to point out real quick, Jambalaya says that she's a huge fan of media that shows angels in a horrifying, ethereal way. I mean, angels in the Bible actually look scary AF. She is not wrong. Oftentimes in the Bible, it'll refer to messengers. I don't know how often. I don't know if the Bible ever refers to them as angels or anything specifically, but that's what we take them to be. So we're thinking creatures in heaven, heavenly creatures, right? So whenever we get to look at the throne of heaven at the end times, we see these creatures that are sitting around heaven. We assume they're angels. You may even call some of them angels. I don't remember, archangels, but it describes them with like 6 wings or 10 wings, a creature with eyes all over its body. It's really kind of horrifying. They are kind of scary. Unless, of course, it could be a metaphor for something like TV screens all over something or whatever. But to just read them, the angels are never described as beautiful creatures with wings. No, that all came in like the 11th or 12th century, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think about, like they say in the when the Moses story, where it says, "Can you look up on God? You're blind or whatever, or dead. Like if he's that scared or like scary or whatever, like scares you. Look at him, he scares you to death."
Mm-hmm. Who scares me?
Oh no. Then the Bible, they say you can't look up on God's face.
Oh yeah,
dead.
That's true. Yeah, it does say that about God. But in one place in the Bible, it says you cannot look upon the face of God. And then another place in the Bible, oh boy, says, I looked upon the face of God. There's a guy, another biblical character actually talks about looking upon the face of God. So, there's lots of contradictions. It's a bunch of different books written by a bunch of different people in a bunch of different places. Some of them were close, some of them were far, but there's no deity involved. There's no truth. There's no truth there. He would have done better off telling us to boil our water. Nowhere in there does it tell us to boil our water, But anyway, I don't want to go off on the Bible. That's not what I'm here for. I'd rather, especially like with Jambalaya, I'd rather talk angel sci-fi story. I'd like telling my story. I really want to get it out. Like I said, I've got the first 3 books planned out. Matter of fact, one of the things is in my story, like I said, it refers to history. There's angels involved, and so there is a thing called the Tree of Knowledge. The Tree of Knowledge is a microbots that you put in your body. It's little robots you put in your body that lets you be able to telepathically control things. It's like being able to have instant Google in your head.
Right. When I hear microscopic people in your body, I like to think of the Borg.
Well, yeah, sort of like that. Yeah, except for this doesn't. It's different, but the same. Well, in my story, there's 2. There's the Tree of Life and the Tree of Knowledge. The Tree of Life actually repairs your body. The Tree of Knowledge gives you knowledge and the ability to control objects, not objects that aren't.
Yeah, it's too bad they didn't eat both fruit at the same time in the story.
Yeah, that's true.
And take both fruit, not an immortal and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, well, to read as far as Adam and Eve, to read it, it sounds like, on day 2, they bit the apple. Like there was no history there. And then right after that, it says Adam lived to be 900 years old. Some people will say Adam was there in the beginning and lived 4,000 years old or whatever, 4,000 years before he ate the apple. And then, stuff like that gets really complicated. But my whole thing is ringing here. There we go.
Yeah. I was thinking, like that whole other fruit, is no one talked about the other fruit very much. It's like
No.
you have to keep on eating it to be immortal, or just eat it one time to become immortal.
Yeah. Have you seen the movie The Fountain?
No.
It's a good movie. Anyway, it's a good movie. Good romantic. If you want to see me cry like a baby, like a hungry, angry baby, watch The Fountain with me. Love that movie. The first time you watch it, if you're, one of those kind of folks, you won't, you might not till you get to the end, but the second time you watch it through, tears will come. And the reason why I even bring it up is because it does have I think it's the tree of life. Obviously it'd be the tree of life. Yeah. And it is played out in that one. It's a good movie. Good movie.
Cool. So you think, I don't, this is one problem I have with one-on-one guest is I run out of things to talk about. That's why I like having other people on my channel too sometimes, people, because keeps the conversation going. So
no, well we've been going an hour, so that's pretty good show. And I need to start getting ready. The wife will be coming home soon. I got to do the thing at the place with the stuff.
So besides your weekly chapter by chapter God Monster of Abraham, any other projects coming up you want to talk about?
Well, really just the Daily Atheist morning show. I do have Quickie with the Skeptics. I'll probably start dropping videos in the middle of the week. Things like, we heard about this 4-year-old kid who died because his parents went to anti-vax website and took their advice. I make videos about those kind of things. So I'll probably drop one about that.
I was want to do a video about. I think I did a podcast episode about that a few years ago. Yeah, I've always wanted to do a rebuttal video about stuff like that. It's just when I try to sit down and watch it, I'm like, I get either so bored or so stupid in my head or head banging, like I can't make it through it. And I respect people that can. I can actually sit through the video and script it out, and stuff like that. Can handle it. I don't know if they do by segments, like 2 seconds at a time, and take a break and back again. But I tried watching one. I'm like,
Yeah. Well, with my series, listen, I'm not somebody who wants to sit around putting hours and hours and hours and hours of research in it. My whole bag is that it's like a blue collar exploration of the Bible. I'm not going to go into some ancient text and look at the agape version of love versus the agave version of love. None of that crap. It's like, look, if this version of the Bible, the NIV, is good enough to teach to Christians, it's good enough for me to use. And I go through it, and I do I just kind of go, look at this. So listen, if you're watching and you don't hate me, if you're a Christian, you guys, not all of your viewers, they might be Christians. That's fine. Don't hate me. Go watch my Evil God Monster of Abraham series just for the fun. You might pick something up. You might think I'm crazy, but I maintain the idea that the God of the Bible is actually the bad guy.
I think I made I think it was your channel. I think I made that joke about the kind joke about if angels and humans can breathe, that we could make them the same kind.
That's right. Well, yeah, that would make them of the same kind. Yeah, exactly. That's true. And then, of course, well, if there are no female angels, then why would there even be male angels? Right? So God, if he didn't create female angels, then he created male angels complete with junk and lust. Or maybe there was no need to do that. He didn't create trees with junk and lust. He didn't create, rocks with junk and lust. He could have created animals without junk and lust.
Maybe angels are transvestites, both sexes.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, I don't see. Yeah, but then you would think the Bible would take an entirely different turn on such things, but they're never mentioned, right? In Adam and Eve, it's man or woman. Matter of fact, in that's the whole deal. I'm covering those in the Bible, and oftentimes children have been abused by their parents or kicked out by their parents, or things like that. Gay people have been abused, accosted, violated, victimized, all with with the charge that what is that rallying cry of Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve.
Yeah, that happened. Not that. But there's a rumor that I was gay back in school. It's like I was like tormented just for a rumor about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. But, what would have happened had they been more open in the Bible about such things? Actually, there's a lot of Bob knew Steve in the Bible. There's kind of more of that than they like to talk about. There's a lot of things in the Bible they don't like to talk about. Math Pig.
David, David and Jonathan.
Yes. Math Pig, right? Well, his mom or grandma did not know that after Lot's wife is turned to salt, that he goes to a cave and has sex with his own daughters. She didn't know that because they don't really teach that part. They just teach the lesson that Sodom was being destroyed and that she looked back and she, but they don't really cover what happened after that. And after that, they go to a cave and the daughters think, well, we're never going to get out of here. Who is going to give us a child if we're going to be stuck here? So we may as well have sex with dad. So they got set. Now, Lot was an elderly man. Okay. He was elderly. It was well known in this story. He even complained that he wouldn't be able to go as far as the angels wanted him to go because he was elderly. So they get him in the cave and they get him drunk, so drunk that he doesn't remember doing the deed. And this is according to the Bible. And this elderly man, so drunk that he doesn't remember that he did the deed, is able to get it up and produce and get his daughter pregnant. And then the next night, they do it again. And the younger daughter, for the same reason, gets the dad so drunk he cannot remember that he's had sex with his daughter. And, of course, he's elderly. And he has sex with, there are a lot of things wrong with this story. A lot of things wrong with this story. It's not a literal story. It's an allegory. It's a metaphor. What's it a metaphor for? And if it's a metaphor, it's a damn bad one. You know what I mean?
I was wondering, that's weird.
Lot's the hero of the story, and he gets to bang his own daughters. Listen, each daughter has a child. Now, one of the things that explicitly kind of goes over in the chapters before that's Genesis 19, I believe. It goes over that before that. Is it you don't have a child unless the Lord says you can have a child. Abraham's wife goes through this with the Lord. You don't get a child unless the Lord says so. Also, in the Old Testament, reward from God was to have many children and to be the father of nations. These are the rewards for being good. Lot went to the cave, had sex with his own daughters, apparently against Lot's will. And then his sons, the two children born from this, went on to be fathers of nations. So he was rewarded. Open-toed sandals. Mix in your clothes, mixing polyester and cotton or something.
How come that is a metaphor, but the first chapter of Genesis is realistic?
That's the whole deal. They use that depending on which story they're telling, and some of them will say, well, this is a metaphor only because it's really hard to explain, so it's got to be a metaphor. Clearly, this is not real science; it's a metaphor. But then you have other ones who don't care that it's not real science, like Ken Ham and the Ark Foundation. Those people who do that, they believe the Ark is a real story. Other Christians will go, well, the Ark was just a story, a metaphor. Well, after the Ark, Noah,
or it could have been like a small local flood that got like a fish tail. Like I was in a flood, and they became a telephone that kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The flood was this big, and the flood was this big. Mm-hmm. Spread out. The stories get bigger and more until they finally write it down.
Jim Belaya makes a good point that a lot of Christians love to say sexuality is a sin, but then they ignore all the other sins. That's true. Open-toed sandals, we saw that. And then also, Lot almost gave his daughters out to rapists because two angels were being harassed. That's true. And there's another story in the Bible it's a story of the Levite.
Is that the one that chopped the wig off?
It's the same story, but from a different angle. They don't call them angels. It's actually the story of a Levite and his servant and his concubine. So two men and a girl. So they go to a town to a nameless old man who's actually Lot from the other story. The nameless old man meets them in the city center, just like in Lot, talks them into coming back to his home, just like in Lot, has a virgin daughter there. All the horny horde of homosexual Hebrews throughout the entirety of the town come beating on the door to try to have sex with the two men, just like in the story of Lot. Just like in the story of Lot, the old man goes out and tells them, no, you can't have the men, tries to give them the daughters. In this case, Lot is his daughters. In this case, he tried to give them his virgin daughter, and the traveler's concubine, which was a woman he had been having, a girl he had married, and then she ran away because she didn't want to be married to him. He went to get her from Bethlehem and was bringing her back. So she's probably a young girl. So tried to give those to her, to the crowd.
But this time they took it.
No, they didn't. They refused. Hold on. They refused the girls, and so they went back in, and then they kept trying to get to the men. So the man, not the old man, but the one who would be an angel from the other story, the traveler, he actually took his own concubine out and threw her out to the horde and locked the door behind her, and she was raped to death. The other virgin did not get killed.
She was. The concubine was took out to them.
Yes, and was raped to death. So he raped her to death. They raped her to death. And in the morning, whenever the guy went to leave, he opened the door, and there she was on the stoop. He said, "Get up and let's go." That's what it says in the Bible. It's like he opened the door, saw her, and said, "Get up and let's go," and she was dead. Right? So how caring could he have been? That's a very crass, considering what you have to imagine she's just been through, and that's the response. But then he realizes she's dead. He cuts her up into bunches of pieces, sends her to all the tribes of Israel. All the tribes of Israel come back and destroy that city. That city is destroyed by the other people of Israel. In the story of Lot, that city is destroyed by whom? God.
Oh, and
as
then
part
I
of Sodom and Gomorrah.
I remember at the end of that story, they're like, "Oh yeah, oh my God, we have to keep that tribe's almost dead. We gotta keep it alive. So let's let them go get the women that people didn't fight."
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that part of it, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all, brother. I appreciate it, but it's time for me to go. I've got to go.
Cool.
You've had a wonderful show with me. Thank you for having me on.
Okay, I don't know about next week, but in 2 weeks from now, I'm going to have Jackson Wheat and Erica from get on my channel to talk about primates.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Primates. So catch for that. Next week, I'm not sure it's still open. It's still open right now. So hope you all can check it out. As always, never stop learning. Enjoy the randomness. We'll see you next time.
Yes, Bye. Thank you guys. Thank you, Vandalia. Thank you very much. You're awesome.